Today we're going to be continuing my tutorial series on Onshape, showing you how to create this simple but I'd say nicely designed catch-all tray. To start, you're going to go to onshape.com, link in the description, and you're going to open up a new part studio. I have it named tutorial number 2 in my case, but you can name it whatever you like. Once you're there, all you're going to do is just press the sketch button here, and then select a sketch plane. I'm going to select the top one. And then I'm going to press the top button here in the top right. You can also press the N key on your keyboard to focus down on it. What you're going to notice here is that there's an origin point right here in the middle. And it's very important to use this in order to actually define what you're drawing. For instance, if you have a center point rectangle, which may be hidden underneath this drop down here for you guys, and you just draw it out like this and define one and then two sides, it's going to still have blue lines, which basically just means that it's undefined. If I turn off the dimension tool there and then drag it, you can see that I can still move it around. That's because it's not properly attached to the center point. But if I delete all of this and then create a new center point rectangle based on this center point here and just drag out, once I've defined both the length of the top line here and the side line here, it's going to have all black lines, meaning that it's fully defined, and I can't drag it around. Turning off the dimension tool, you try to drag it, and just nothing happens because it's fully defined. With that said, let's get started. I will once again push the center point rectangle button here, possibly hidden below this drop-down menu for you. Click on the origin point, and then drag out. I'm designing this so that it works on most 3D printers, including the A1 Mini. So I'm going to define it as 6 inches on this long side and 4 inches on this shorter side here on the right. So you can go to the dimension tool either by typing the D button, clicking on this button, or searching for it in tools, and then pressing enter. Then I'm going to click first on the top line here. Dragging out, you can see that I have my dimensions inside of millimeters currently. But if you click on it, you can still type in 6 and then IN for inches. Pressing enter, it's going to define that as 6 inches. Mine showing inside millimeters. And then if you click the right line here and drag out, you should be able to define this as 4 inches by just typing in 4 IN and then pressing enter. With all of that done, the next step is going to be to actually extrude the shape out so it goes from a 2D plane to a 3D object. To do this, we're going to either go to the top left button here where it says extrude, or search for it inside the tools menu. I'll click this now, and it should be automatically selected, but if it's not, you can just click on this drawing here. For the distance, I'm going to go with just under 3/4 of an inch, which is 20 millimeters. Type in 20 and then just NM to make sure you have the units, and then press enter. Using 2 fingers on my trackpad, or you can use the right click button on your mouse, I can then drag that out to get a preview of how far out this box is going to go. That looks good to me, so I'm going to push the green check mark, and we now have a 3D object. If you are on a MacBook, you can press the Control and then 2-finger click or right click button to pan around. Or if you're using a mouse, you can simply press in the middle mouse button, which is the scroll wheel generally, in order to pan the object around your environment. The next step is going to be actually taking this block and making a hole inside of it so it can hold stuff for us. We did something similar inside of the previous video where we basically extruded a circle and then used a tool to just cut out the space inside of it. but there is a better way that's a little bit faster. It's called the shell tool. You can find it with this icon here inside the top menu bar, or you can just type in shell here on the top left, top right. Press enter, and then it's asking you to choose a face to remove. I'm going to go ahead and choose this face here. And for the shell thickness, I'm going to go ahead and choose 5 millimeters. So 5 space and then mm for millimeters. Press enter. Now that you have your box with 5 millimeters walls all the way around, the next step is going to actually get it looking a little more curved, which I think is more pleasant to the eye. To do that, we're going to be using a new tool, which is called the Fillet tool. You can use that with Shift plus F, clicking here inside the top menu bar, or just going over and typing in Fillet, which I'll do now. Pressing enter, it brings you to this menu here on the left, where it's asking you to choose the entities you want to fillet. We're going to start by curving out this general square shape on the inside of it, with a radius of 20 millimeters, and the rest of the settings are going to stay the same. To start, I'm going to choose this line right here between the long wall and the short wall on the inside. As you can see, it then previews, showing you what the wall is going to look like after it applies this fillet, and that looks good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and start selecting the other corner lines on this object. Using the right-click button or 2 fingers on your trackpad, you can rotate the object. And I'm going to click this one next, and then rotating it all the way around. I'm going to click on this one, pan it over a little bit, and then click on this one here. If you need to, you can also use the cube here to move your object around, which can make it a little bit easier to find some of these edges. You can just click on the corners here in order to get that view that I'm looking at now. Once you're happy with everything, you just push the green check mark here, and you're able to move on to the next step, which is going to be rounding out these outside corners right here. To do that, you're going to go back into the fillet tool, and you're going to select these outside corner lines. So selecting this here, 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 and here. I'm going to take a look at this from the top view, and I'm noticing something I don't really like. The line thickness here between this inner wall and the outer wall, and the line thickness here between the corner inner wall and the corner outer wall don't really line up. I think it'd be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing if it was closer, so I'm going to try to change the radius from 20 millimeters here to 25. Sometimes it's best to press Tab in order to make it actually calculate it. If you press Enter now, that also works. And as you can see, the inner corner and the outer corner are now much more close in wall thickness to the rest of the design here, which I like. You can press the green check mark now, and that's really starting to come together. The next step is going to be applying a new tool called a chamfer. So what a chamfer does is it basically takes a 45-degree angle off of the bottom of your part or wherever you're applying it. I find this to be useful for a lot of different things, but one of the most useful aspects of it is that when you're printing an object, you're not going to have an issue with the first layer kind of squishing out. If you're using a Bamboo Labs machine, I found that they're generally pretty reliable at having a clean first layer. But on older machines, and even sometimes on Bamboos, depending on how the film is tuned in, you can still have issues where that first layer sticks out a little bit farther than it should. Using a chamfer on that bottom edge can fix it by bringing those edges in a little bit. We're going to try that now by flipping the object over using the 2 fingers on the trackpad or the right mouse button and selecting this bottom face. You're gonna press the chamfer button, which you can also search for in tools here. And as you can see, it defaults to 5 millimeters for that chamfer. I think that looks pretty good, so I'm gonna just go ahead and stick with that. But if you want to, you can adjust that down to 2 millimeters or whatever other value. I'm gonna leave it at 5 for now, and then push that green check mark here. So it's starting to look pretty good. But let's look at the inside of this as well. I'm gonna apply a chamfer here because it's going to help it's a transition between the bottom and the top of this design. It will also help if you throw your keys or something in there, where it's going to kind of settle into the middle, which is generally what I think I would want instead of catch-all tray. So what I'm going to do is just click on the chamfer button again, and then start going around the inside of this design. So just click right here. And what it does with tangent proposition turned on is it goes all the way around from just clicking that one section because it's a continuous circular path. If you turn that off, it will just do that one section. It's actually giving us an error right now. So I generally just leave that on, and it works for most use cases. If you're happy with that design, all you have to do is then just press the green check mark here. And we're starting to get a design that I'm really happy with. The next step that I would do is going and taking the fillet tool one last time, selecting the top face here just to round it over. Sometimes on printed objects, these edges can be a little bit sharp, and especially if it's an object like this where you're planning on using it semi-regularly. I mean, you toss your keys in there, toss your wallet, whatever else when you come in through the door. It can be nice to soften that out just a little bit. I'm going to click on the top face here, and if it is left at 25 millimeters, it's complaining a lot. We're going to cut that down all the way to 2 millimeters and see what that looks like. And that looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and leave everything on and press the green check mark. So all in all, I think this is just about done, but I want to do one last thing to kind of take it over the edge. And that is using the fillet tool one final time, and it's going around all of these edges to kind of bring it out just a little bit. You can rotate using the 2 fingers on trackpad or the right mouse button. And just go around, kind of round this out just a little bit more. Here's what it looks like at 2 millimeters, which I think looks pretty nice. But if you boost it all the way up to 20, I think it looks even better. It's just one continuous, smooth curve going down, with the chamfer ensuring that those first layers aren't going to print inside of a way that's a little bit less aesthetically pleasing. If you're happy with that design, all you need to do is go to Tutorial down here at the bottom, right-click on it, 2 fingers on the trackpad, and then press Export. Make sure your format is on binary, STL, millimeters, fine resolution, and download. I'm going to call this tutorial 2 dash catch all tray. And then I'm going to press export here. Going over to Bamboo Studio, you can see that I have an earlier version already in here. But I'm going to go ahead and add in one more plate and then drag that in from downloads. I'll then select my design. I want to see what this looks like inside of purple. So I'm going to select 3 here. Then I'm going to go ahead and try one last thing. If you go to others on the Bamboo Studio slicer software and then scroll down a little bit, you'll see an option for fuzzy skin. By default, it's turned off, but if you click on this drop down and then change it to all walls, it's going to give you a pretty interesting design that I'll show you in a second that kind of elevates a design like this in my mind. I generally like to have the fuzzy skin point distance at zero point 0.3 and the fuzzy skin thickness also at 0.3 millimeters. I just find that's a design that I quite like. But you can choose whatever variables you want there and kind of play around with it. I'll then press slice plate. And you can see there exactly what I'm talking about. Changing from layer height on the color scheme here to line type. You can see it just a little bit better, where it looks almost like a rocky or marble type design. And I'm pivoting the design right now, just using one finger on the trackpad to kind of go around. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or suggestions on what I should make a tutorial about next, please let me know down inside the comments. I think that what might really interest you is stuff like the revolve tool, possibly the sweep tool, and the loft tool here. They're some of the main ones that I find useful for kind of niche and different stuff. But I also would be happy to make a tutorial on how to add text to objects, how to add threads, connectors, fasteners, and everything else there. I've learned a lot of stuff over the years that I think could be pretty applicable to different designs, and I'd love to help people just get better and better at 3D printing. Let me know if you have any questions and have a great day. Thank you.